Because what we have learned here from all of this craziness is that the police are not going to protect you. They are certainly not going to protect your property. And in so doing, really don't give two shits about you. Hello everybody, Terrence Popp here with another episode of Live from the Lair. For those of you who are not aware, President Trump is trying to get Antifa labeled as a domestic terrorist group, and the Democrats are basically fighting them and not going to allow this to happen. Shocker. Okay. There have been, a lot of coordinated attacks and craziness that's taken place all over the country, mainly in Democrat-run cities. And when you step back and look at it from, the 50-meter, distant picture, there's a lot of similarities. And basically what Antifa is using is what we refer to as tradecraft. Okay, it's a structure and organization that is used to spy, commit acts of violence, and recruit informants. Okay, now in order for this to work, there has to be an overarching organization that's pushing for all of this, that has to have a lot of money. Okay, it has to have political backing and plausible deniability for this whole thing to work. This organization will basically have an orchestrator to do their bidding, okay, and they provide them with information and money. Now, this could be one person or it could be up to a group of people. Usually you want to keep your numbers, relatively on the small side for plausible deniability. The main orchestrator gets the big picture from the organization, so they know what's going on up here. All right, they know what the end result is. They know what they're looking for. All right, now they also hand info down to, they're called handlers. And usually they really don't know what's going on between the handlers and the main orchestrators for plausible deniability. But the only thing that really goes down here is the money. All right. Now, these guys are told a certain amount of information. They're not given the big picture. They're basically given very specific objectives, and that's about it. And each one of these cells, it could be anywhere from 1 to 15 people, will basically control their own, agitators and useful idiots, to help them along with whatever the fuck they're doing. All right, now, the main rule of thumb here is no matter where you go in the world, there's never a shortage of useful idiots. There's always a crank spinning somewhere that's spitting out fucking idiots faster than you can count.
A guy in a pillowcase, a clinging nymphomaniac, 2 bored chicks suffering the backdoor blues.
You ever been fucked in the ass?
What?
And a hitman trapped in the middle without a clue. From the makers of The Project and Red Days comes the second to last worst day of my life. Watch it now on Amazon for only 99 cents.
We are not little Japanese boobs. We are big American titties.
All right, now Antifa, in my opinion, there's enough evidence out there to state that they are operating somewhere in this range, either as handlers or in active cells. They are not down here as useful idiots. And how do we know this? There's been a lot of individuals who have, basically got into the organization and heard what they're saying. And a lot of that information that's being talked about is not stuff that useful idiots usually talk about. Now, when they're going into the urban and suburban areas, all right, the first thing that's going to happen is going to be a recon. Okay, there'll either be a digital/map reconnaissance. You really can't do anything about that because Google Earth is a bitch and it's basically the stalker paradise. All right, now the next thing that happens when they finally, pick the target, they're going to send out feelers. And they're going to test the police and check the citizen resolve. A dumpster fire being set in the middle of the night, they're counting how long it takes for the fire department to get there. Or they break a window that they know the place is alarmed, and they count and see how long it takes the cops to come. The citizen resolve, that could be tested by, parking in front of somebody's house here or there. And if the police are never called, then you pretty much have a citizenry that doesn't really pay attention or give a fuck what's going on in their neighborhoods. Basically what the pattern is they like to hit soft targets which are either unprotected or isolated and usually have some type of political relevance. And what they do is they get a bunch of useful idiots and they say, hey, we need to everyone assemble here at this area. It becomes a protest. And right behind the protest comes the agitators who will basically ramp it all up to a point where it becomes violent. And this is usually operated, these agitators are directly operated by cell members. They like to hide with the protesters. They use the useful idiots for violence. And usually when that happens, you have a criminal element that comes behind. They take advantage for free shit. Now, it's very disturbing here what they're stealing. They're stealing guns and money. Those guns are now untraceable, and you can use them for nefarious fucking shit. That money becomes untraceable because you stole it. And, tracking down these items that were sold and proving it to who did what where is very difficult. Okay, now this is just the beginning stages. After this, it moves over to future attacks using real violence, not just throwing bottles and bricks and fireworks and the occasional Molotov cocktail. It probably turns into a low-grade guerrilla war where people are targeted and killed. All right, now we're going to get to the important part here. If you are in a conservative organization and you are not organized, you need to do that. Recruit, set up an alert roster so you could call the people in your organization and let them know what the fuck is going on. If all your citizens in your particular area are on the same page, you're no longer a soft target. All right, so when douchebags show up, there's basically a counter-protest on hand, ready to take action.